This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, guys, to the Week in Review, and welcome to Christmas week. It is Sunday, December 21st, 2025. I hope all of your shopping's done. If you're like me, you just finished up. I'm looking at some of the presents in my office right now that are unwrapped and have been delivered in the last, 4 hours to my home. So if you're like me and wait till the last second, well, congratulations, it's done. And we can then say we're not going to do it and do it again all over next year. So I hope everybody's not too stressed out. You're finishing up work and we are about to enter Christmas week, whether you have the whole week off or not. Most of us as adults don't. We have, Christmas Day off, like kind of where it ends unless you take extra time around Christmas, Thanksgiving, or rather Christmas Eve or the day after. But either way, it's a busy time of year, and I hope it's a good one for you. And we're rolling into not just Christmas, but a Royal Rumble season that is just, 6 weeks away, roughly 5-6 weeks away from the Royal Rumble being in, let's all say it together, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, our beloved Riyadh, that is certainly not a very popular place to be if you're anywhere outside of Riyadh. And hey, listen, I understand that they have become a little bit better of an audience. John Cena even went on the Cody Rhodes podcast that was very widely viewed. Right now it's got, well over 1 million views from that multi-hour long conversation with John Cena. And if you can stomach his very robotic, political, stoic answers that are masterfully crafted about saying a whole lot without saying much at all, then you will love this podcast. This is John Cena. And you know what? There were some more vulnerable moments, and he let out a couple F-bombs, but that doesn't really do anything for me outside of what's the context. Like, what are you actually saying? And he's still difficult to read. He'll say something that could be a direct answer and take about 4 seconds, and he'll turn it into 40 minutes. And you really have to sift through and just weed out the crap and fluff to understand at the core of what he's saying. And so if you can stand that, then have at it for those 2 hours. You'll enjoy it. But there's a couple things I want to take from that I will talk about later in the show, because I want this to be about the week in review, because sometimes I get off topic. So at the tail end of the show, tail end of my review here, I will get back to the John Cena, to me, takeaways, a couple takeaways from that podcast that I have to talk about. At least one of that being CM Punk and John Cena's best moment ever in the ring. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. So we also have a show from Daniel, who from Australia, who has done a review of SmackDown. I had a double review of SmackDown this week, a little bit of an overlap. Amanda did return, but Daniel also provided his review. So a little bit of a unique show, but I want to thank him for his contributions over the last couple of weeks with filling in for Amanda and doing a great job. He also does our main event reviews for those of you who want to get yourself caught up in a really short order and know what happened on the main event. Well, Daniel will get you caught up every week. So we'll get to his SmackDown review again towards the end of the show. So a lot to look forward to at the end of the show here. So stick around. All righty, let's dive into this week in WWE. And I'll give you my own thoughts on SmackDown, because obviously I haven't given you those yet. And the show began with a video package that recapped John Cena's retirement match. And the announce team promised to look at the confrontation at Drew McIntyre's house between Cody Rhodes and Drew. And then a video showed of Cody Rhodes walking into the building and followed by the MFTs. And in the arena, Damien Priest made his entrance. So Priest said it was nice to hear the energy from a live crowd. And he said he knows it's not easy since everyone was forced to watch the retirement of John Cena. And he called Cena the GOAT without a shadow of a doubt and led the crowd in a thank you Cena chant. I'm done with this. Sorry, Priest. How much more are we going to do this? If I hear one more thank you Cena chant outside of his retirement speech or outside of his Hall of Fame speech and his next night at WrestleMania induction, I don't know. I've heard it's been a year long of that, so I'm kind of done. But okay. So then he recalled defeating Vega in Black last week and called a business that he handled. And Priest said he wanted to look forward to 2026, but that's when Vega walked out and called him a hypocrite. She said he thinks having his mommy fight his battles for him makes him a real man. But she said that Aleister had broken him and Priest had made his decision and now he has to live with theirs, or rather his. That's when Aleister Black attacked Damien Priest. Priest fought back, delivered South of Heaven on the apron, and then got a table from underneath the ring. Yes, we need to make sure it is the Slim Jim table. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been nearly as devastating. He made sure to get that Slim Jim table. And Black cut him off, landed a roundhouse kick, ended up putting Priest through the table with a Meteora, and then we got more backstage a little bit later in the show. So, nice start to SmackDown, different start to SmackDown. I did hear another podcaster say this, and I can't really disagree. I think SmackDown needs a really big shakeup. There's a lot of repeat stories going on that have been going on for a long time. And traditionally, if you've listened to me for a while, this is, and what I say every year, this is kind of the dead time of year for wrestling, because you're in December. It's holidays. People's focus is elsewhere. You're looking, if you're in the NFL, you've got your teams lined up for the playoffs. It's kind of a weird time of year. But as we get forward here into January, things should freshen up. The Royal Rumble to me is the true beginning of a fresh year of wrestling. Because sure, they can call it September whenever they do their, and sometimes they don't, but whenever they choose to do their season debuts in September to try to keep up with all the other television shows, I don't buy it. It's just very performative to me because they're just trying to follow in the footsteps of all the other shows. But they're not really a traditional show, so it doesn't really make sense. For me, it's January. For me, it's the Royal Rumble. Things get reset, refocused. So if it feels a little bit stale and a little bit repetitive, a little bit of rinse and repeat, it's because it's that time of year. That's what it is. But all right, let's continue. We have a backstage Lash Legend and Nia Jax trash talk about Alexa Bliss. They said they're done with them and wanted the Kabuki Warriors to become the women's tag team champions. All right. And then back in the arena, the Kabuki Warriors made their entrance. And as the show returned, Black did again attack Damien Priest in the backstage area, threw him into some equipment, and then hit him with a plastic snow shovel, which was an interesting choice of weapons, and then hit him with a black mass kick against a steel garage curtain, and that was that. And so a nice attack from Aleister Black. I enjoyed this. In the choice of weapons, I really can't remember the last time anyone used a shovel. If I'm not wrong here, correct me. I'm sure somebody will. The last time I saw anyone use a shovel, and it certainly wasn't a plastic snow shovel. It was like a spade, steel spade that I think was worked, but still was supposed to be a steel spade shovel, was in 1998, 1999, when The Undertaker and Stone Cold had their program, I think leading into SummerSlam, when The Undertaker hit Austin in the head with a shovel. I think it was into the SummerSlam. Maybe it wasn't, but that's the last time I remember anyone getting hit in the head with a shovel. It wasn't the head, but using the shovel as a weapon. Somebody out there will correct me. So Lash Legend and Nia Jax take on Asuka and Kairi Sane, and the match went, what do I have here, the count? 8 minutes and 56 seconds. Yeah, it did seem kind of short. Nia Jax and Lash Legend beat the Kabuki Warriors, as they should have, and after the match, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte run in and battle with Legend and Jax, and just as Alexa Bliss was going to hit her finish, we had Nia Jax pull Lash Legend from the ring. That was nice. A nice, I think, first of all, the matchup between Lash Legend, Nia Jax, and the Kabuki Warriors was a solid matchup. I don't know if I particularly enjoyed the candy cane style attire worn by Nia Jax and Lash Legend. I don't get too much into attire, but it was, I think it was supposed to be festive. If it wasn't supposed to be festive, then it's worse. But I think both women did well. I continue to enjoy to watch Lash Legend's evolution. Her and Nia have a nice chemistry together. She does feel like she belongs already, and she's been on the roster, a month? So this is a nice addition to SmackDown, a nice new tag team in the women's division, kind of making the division feel like it's an actual division. This division right now, kind of quietly, has become a very solidified and maybe, dare I say, legitimate division for the women. Maybe the closest it's ever been. And there have been some really sloppy times. This is not one of them. So for all the criticism right now, I think that we have to remember the women's tag team division, which is just a consummate mess, may be the best it's looked since it was created. So, alrighty. Let's continue. We have then Nick Aldis shown heading to Drew McIntyre's house and met with him about a suspension. They met around McIntyre's pool, and Aldis offered him a one-on-one title match with Cody. And this ends up, which is kind of an interesting way they filmed it. It ends up with Drew creating these demands that Nick Aldis decides to agree to. And McIntyre said that he didn't want it. He said he wanted what he wanted because otherwise he'll just get screwed again. And Aldis demanded to know, what do you want? And he said he wants to pick the stipulation with the match with Cody. And he said that he also wants to put it in writing that if Cody touches McIntyre before their match, he's stripped of the championship. And this, to me, though, doesn't make sense. It goes from Nick Aldis demanding that McIntyre apologize or he'll have to pay a fine to McIntyre saying, no, how about we do the total opposite and I create the demands here and you just abide by them. And Aldis is like, okay, drive a hard bargain, but well stated. I mean, that's essentially what he said. And it gets a little worse on SmackDown with Cody and with Nick Aldis and Cody. And I don't mean in a bad way in the way that Cody delivered his promo, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, Aldis is his morals and his convictions are so easily swayed with no argument whatsoever. And it's one of those deals of you continue to get rewarded for bad behavior where you just do what you want. And WWE is like, okay, well, if you stop it, you'll get rewarded. Again, just such backwards logic. All right. But again, Cody attacks Drew in his house. There's ring camera footage. Cops get involved. It was a bit Triple H Randy Orton-esque from 2009, I want to say, when the infamous home invasion. Triple H was thrown through his front window. Very famous footage. It felt a little bit like that, and we've seen other ones too. I mean, we've seen even what was it? Was it Sami Zayn? I'm gonna miss it here. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Yeah, I think they had their kind of creepy home invasions of one another, stalking each other. So there have been some home stuff. Even The Miz. Remember Miz and Bray Wyatt? I think The Miz and Bray Wyatt even had that. Okay, well, we're going to get to the just clown ship show of Nick Aldis, and I don't mean to hammer him as a wrestler, as a performer, because he is a performer. He doesn't wrestle, so I'll call him a performer. But his convictions as a character are just so weak. He caves for no reason. He doesn't stick by his guns, and he's a great. He delivers his lines very well, and I have thoroughly enjoyed him as SmackDown GM. Thoroughly. It's just that he cannot stand by his own words ever. All right. Excuse me. So we then have Alba Fire and Julia. This match went, sadly, 4 minutes and 13 seconds, because I think this definitely could have gone longer. But the fact that these two got a singles match, good thing here, because you want them to have some kind of spotlight on just them. And the finish was some back and forth strikes. Julia eventually delivered a big knee strike and a fisherman's buster for the victory. That looked really, really nice. She did a nice standing, stalling fisherman's buster that looked just great. And so showing off a little bit of strength and confidence there. A nice win for Julia. After the match, Julia scared off Chelsea Green, and elsewhere, Cody Rhodes was then shown walking toward the ring in the back. All right. We then have a Wyatt Sicks VHS video air. That was nice to see. We haven't seen those in a while. Howdy addressed Solo, and the image says he portrays. The image he portrays would lead him to abandonment and misery. And he said tonight they start their journey, one that would force Solo and his family to surrender. In the arena, Cody Rhodes makes his entrance, and he, what does he say? He asked the crowd what they want. I'm not even going to say it. He recapped his visit to Drew's home and talked about Drew saying WWE is an unsafe working environment. And Cody reminded Drew that he's surrounded by MMA fighters, college and pro athletes, and asked what would make that a safe environment for him. Nick Aldis shows up and said Cody made Drew's case for him when he showed up at his house, and he was forced to make a bad deal because of it. He then told Cody that he should have trusted him, but he didn't. Eventually, here's the part that I take issue with, that I talked about a few minutes ago, with Nick Aldis just being so flimsy in his stances and his views and his beliefs. He talks to, or rather, Cody talks to him about, who he is, right? I should say Cody is, I meant to say Cody. Yes, Nick Aldis is very flimsy, but Cody then just mirrors what the issue is with Nick, because what Cody says is, hey, you forgot who I am. You forgot who you're talking to. He says, I'm the guy that beat Roman Reigns, that ended his run. I'm the guy that won the Royal Rumble twice. And I think another accolade or two. And he says that he doesn't work for him. He works for the crowd. Of course he says that. Makes me want to vomit. And then he says that as long as he holds the WWE Championship, he's not above the law. He is the law, and all this works for him. He then left, but not before agreeing to the demands. So if you're going to make this case, Cody, and I think this is a writer problem, this is just a massive hole in logic here, is you say all these things. I am the law. You work for me. I work for the people, like a true politician would say. I mean, this is truly what a politician would say. So the accusations, even that the ones that Drew have made on air, are very true. Cody represents a politician in some of the most fundamental ways possible, and people are eating it up. But more to the point, Cody Rhodes talks about he is the law. He said, I am the law, but also agrees to the terms that he doesn't like. Well, which is it? How can you be the law? Everyone's working for you, except for the people. And also, I guess I'll agree to it. Well, do you see the problem here? It's so backwards. I know they're trying to save face because Cody, if he truly is the Law that he says he believes he is, then why does he have to agree to this? He doesn't have to. What's in it for him? Screw Drew McIntyre. Why am I even giving him an opportunity for this championship? How has he deserved it? He's violated the suspension at every turn. And then you go to his house, you immediately cave for apparently no reason. And then you put these terms on, you punish Cody. You punish Cody for his actions. When the attack, if we're supposed to believe that the attack on Drew at his home is a quote unquote unsafe work environment, well, that's not at work. That's at home. You're no longer on work time. Everybody knows that, right? If something happened at your home where an employee attacked you, like you can't. There's no ramifications. I mean, certainly the organization could fire you, but it's not on work time on work grounds. And I think that's kind of where I'm going here is like, no, Cody attacked him on his own time, but I don't know. Am I splitting hairs, guys? Probably. All this to say, I still enjoy the Drew and Cody program, but it does need to come to an end, and it needs to come to an end fairly quickly. It's been, 4 or 5 times here, and I still don't believe Drew's going to win. And I don't, because from what I'm understanding and the way that Cody's been positioned again this year, how many times have we said that? It looks like Cody's rolling into WrestleMania as champion. Drew is just once again not in the right place at the right time. He's the right guy, but not in the right place at the right time. He's got one of the 3, but you need all 3. All right. So backstage, we have Carmelo Hayes talking with Dragunov. And by the way, whatever happened to Carmelo Hayes and The Miz? Remember that thing? Yeah, where like Miz was attacked by Carmelo and there were, yeah, I don't know. So we're just supposed to forget it. So Tommaso Ciampa takes on Johnny Gargano, DIY, versus Carmelo Hayes and Dragunov. The match, really good here, but fairly quick for a tag team match. 10 minutes and 21 seconds with Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes beating DIY. And just a really good tag team match here. We had the finish be Gargano and Ciampa delivering a super kick into a suplex combo for a near fall. They then lined up to meet in the middle, and Dragunov landed a torpedo Moscow, and then he landed an H-bomb on Ciampa. Hayes then tags in and landed a really nice looking nothing but net on Ciampa and got the victory. So fine. That was good. I mean, I am enjoying, despite Carmelo Hayes being here, there, everywhere in a program and not, Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes, I think, are a really nice tag team. Okay. We have Jade Cargill. Oh, yeah. Well, here we go. After the match, we had Bliss and Charlotte say that Lash Legend and Nia Jax are on their way and that they would be the next ones in line for a title shot. Jade Cargill then walked up and stood next to Charlotte, and she was asked about Michin, and she said she was shocked that she got back up after she knocked her down. Michin then appeared and attacked Jade with just one kendo stick shot before officials broke it up and took the kendo stick away from her. So, yeah, fine. Again, we get some words from Jade. Still have yet to cut that promo. I don't know if I should ever expect it. I honestly don't know if she's even capable of it, because if she was and the company had faith that she could, we would have heard it by now. That said, we're at least getting breadcrumbs of her on the microphone. You just know it's never going to go more than a sentence or two before somebody interrupts her in some way. So we're kind of take what we can get from the Jade Cargill character. So we then have the Wyatt Sicks here versus Tonga Loa and JC Mateo. And the match went 11 minutes with the Wyatt Sicks and MFTs ending in a no contest, because the finish was, let's see here, Mateo got a side suplex for a near fall. Gacy fired up and delivered a big knee, and he then drove on both Mateo and Loa on the floor, and Loomis and Gacy landed a suplex and powerbomb combo on JC Mateo. That's when Joe Gacy ended up on the outside and got leveled by Tala Tonga. And after the match, there was just a big brawl. Again, this went to a no contest. Tala Tonga climbed the top rope, ended up taking just about everybody out with a crossbody, because remember how if you're even in the vicinity, I mean, they should just have the whole crowd. Like that would be hilarious, right? If the entire, the 10,000 people in attendance, every time that they're setting up for a spot where somebody's jumping off of a high place and they're going to take down 64 people, even if 62 of them make no sense and they're nowhere near the landing zone, they just fall because they're told to. If everyone in the arena also just fell to the floor, I would find that the visual of that would be hilarious, because that's essentially the effect extended into the audience of what we're watching. Somebody needs to clean that spot up. Somebody needs to clean it up. You can't have everybody, and this did not look nearly as bad as some others. I'm just using it as an example. If you're on the outward fringes, you don't fall down. It looks silly. It looks completely fake. Yeah, I know it won't ever be cleaned up, but it's something so easy. Just don't have that many people there. If you don't want to have them sell, and it'd be weird, and they're, okay, well, you're not going to have them sell. What do you do? Oh, I don't know. Just not be in that spot or already be down. I know that the visual of that person taking out many people looks cool until you actually watch it and go, 75% of those people weren't even touched. Why are they on the ground? So it's a spot that just bothers me and has for many years. So that said, this actually was a fun brawl. It heated things up to a point where seeing these two teams fight and looking forward to it is something that actually exists for me. And again, it was a back and forth, and Samoan Spikes and Eric Rowan had some nice shine there. But I think it ended with a Samoan Spike on Eric Rowan, and it still, I think, was a nice finish to SmackDown, back and forth and spots and people getting certain, certain moments in that brawl, the VHS tape being brought back. They're doing their due diligence on this program. It's not meant to be truly the main event. It was on this particular episode of SmackDown, but it's generally not going to be a main event, and that's okay. But they're doing, at least for the last several weeks, doing a nice job doing stuff with these two groups, because there's a lot you could do with the amount of talent in that ring. Yes. So solid episode of SmackDown. Nothing that I think we're going to go talk to our kids about when they're older, but one that I think is, definitely one that progressed towards the end goals, especially with Drew and Cody. And yes, even Alexa Bliss and Charlotte and Lash Legend and Nia Jax to their eventual match. All right, quick review of Raw, and then we're going to get to my thoughts on John Cena's quote-unquote favorite moment ever in wrestling. It's a doozy. So we had Gunther remember all the boos on Raw? He got booed out of the arena, and he just said that John Cena tapped out like a little, yep. And loved it. I loved it. And we had AJ and everybody shame him. Even Adam Pearce called him an a-hole, which of course is ridiculous. You get a victory that big over somebody in their retirement match, you own it and milk it for all it's worth. You'd be a fool not to. He did, I don't know why. When you think about it logically, why is everyone attacking him? Why is everyone attacking Gunther? He didn't do anything to John Cena that I think anyone else wouldn't have done. He tried to win the match, and then gloated about it. So what? So what? I understand that no one's looking beyond the surface here, but that's to my detriment what I do. So AJ Styles got mad about it, and Otis got mad about it, and a bunch of people's tummies were hurt over it. But I loved it, and Gunther should continue to own it and really triple down on it. I mean, just go in and grind, and just you can't let a win like this and the way he won go to waste. Despite the fact that, as you heard on my mailbag show, I was not a fan of, I believe it was Attorney Tut, one of our emailers, brought to my attention that the smile he gave in the tap out really took away from the tap out, which I agree with. But ultimately he tapped. And if you're going to do something like that, you can't just gloat about it for a week. Legends like John Cena don't come around very often. They don't. They are rarefied air. And so when you have something like that, a victory like that, you talk about it forever and ever and ever. No, he doesn't need to talk about it in every promo. That's not what I'm advocating for. That would get really dry and predictable very quick. But when you need that extra heat and the fans have kind of forgotten about it a little bit and maybe things are not as hot as you want it to be, to remind them of that. Fans will go, oh yeah, that's right, you son of a, right? That's what you want. You need to use that one on your resume a lot. So, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso took on the New Day. Quickly, that match ended with Jimmy and Jey beating the New Day in 17 minutes. Yes, they are always incredible together. These four could go forever. And it would be, I mean, these four, they could honestly all be sleepwalking and have, a 5-star match. So Maxine Dupree took on Ivy Nile for the Women's Intercontinental title, and Maxine Dupree beat Ivy Nile to retain in 10 minutes. So probably, was that Maxine's longest match ever? Singles match ever? Maybe. CM Punk then torches Bron Breakker. If you remember that, of course you do. He essentially insults the intelligence and IQ of Braun and his entire family, and he threatens him if he ever talks about his wife's name again, he'll rip his eyes out. And it was an awesome build to their January 5th world title match on is in the Barclays Center. I think it is in Brooklyn. Great promo, great. So then we had Stephanie Vaquer take on Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's Championship. That went to a no contest in 8 minutes. We had, I'm just going through matches here. Rey Mysterio take on Logan Paul. Logan Paul beats Rey Mysterio in 15 minutes. And of course, this was just the, I say big in air quotes, reveal of the masked assassin, which is Austin Theory. Yes, it was incredibly exciting. But I'll be consistent with my allowing this to breathe. The initial experience of seeing Austin Theory, I think everyone would unanimously agree, is ho-hum at best. It's not exciting. It's predictable. We heard about it weeks ahead of time, and they built it up for weeks, and you're thinking, okay, well, why would they go this long if it's Austin Theory? No one's going to care. And it was Austin Theory, and they're telling us to care. But here's the thing. Follow-up is so important, and it's ultra important here for Austin Theory to get a totally fresh start, to erase his past ills from the John Cena victory that actually was his biggest loss, to A-Town Down Under that never quite caught on, and disappearing off TV for several weeks at a time, and all the rest. All of that can be erased for Austin Theory in an instant if he cuts a really good promo and gets heat where he understand, and you understand, we understand why he did what he did, what we can expect from him going forward, what his motivations are. Basic stuff. All of that can be erased, and it's not going to take just a new haircut to do it. We need to hear from him. So that should be quite interesting. And now when you look at the makeup of the Vision, it truly is living up to the name, because you have Paul Heyman, who is there to be the mouthpiece when need be and adds incredible name value and credibility right off the bat. You have Bronson Reed, who has, he certainly is not at the focal center point of the Vision, but with his destruction of LA Knight, who was written off television and I think likely to come back at the Rumble or maybe before. I mean, he's put himself back in the conversation because LA Knight's involved. Then you have Bron Breakker, who has, no pun intended, broken out and really become a big star quickly, particularly with his promos the last couple of weeks up until Punk just laid the smackdown on him. And now you have, of course, Austin Theory. And you look at this makeup of guys, young guys. Many of them have been labeled as the future of the company. They truly are. At least that's the idea. So the group may be the vision, and this may be under a quote-unquote wrestling storyline. But there's a lot of real stuff here. Like, the company does truly believe this is the future of the business. So they are properly labeled. We'll see. We'll see how things turn out. I know Austin Theory's reveal was, to me, even the crowd just goes, oh, eh. Right? We all did. No one was truly excited about that. No one. But the key is the follow-up. And I think that will ultimately decide whether this is a success or a failure. Alrighty. So before I get to the review, and this is, I'll totally toss the baton to our SmackDown, second SmackDown review, if you want to take a listen, to Daniel from Australia. I want to just talk about John Cena, who recently made his appearance, as I said, on the Cody Rhodes podcast. And he talked about, and Cody directly asked him, what was your favorite wrestling moment ever now? And this is, I'm going to try to get some audio of it because I think that way I'm not paraphrasing or misspeaking. So here is John Cena's response to that very question.
Yeah. I can't get past Phil Brooks, CM Punk, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah?
I think that might be my favorite moment in wrestling.
Wow. This is the match itself.
No,
the
pre-show.
promo. The pre-show?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to have a promo with him that night and a match. So
Yeah.
I'm attaching myself to that moment.
Okay.
Because I think it's one of the best moments in wrestling.
Please tell me why.
There is no shortage of divide.
Yeah.
You know, we have a million different ways to gravitate towards like-minded groups and therefore block everyone else out. You had someone who, in a moment of frustration and reaction,
Yeah.
said some pretty hateful things
Yeah.
and about a culture.
Yeah.
And then you have that culture being like, fuck you.
Right.
Come at us. Like, not in our house. And then you have a man who's brave enough to walk into the Lion's Den. And for young performers, old performers, please watch that pre-show. I think it fell under everybody's radar. I was bawling my eyes out, saying this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Phil goes out there. I want to say Phil because it's his development as a man.
Yeah.
Front row, there is a dude to hold him accountable, and I'm huge on accountability.
Yeah.
And in the right moment, Phil was accountable for what he said.
Yeah.
He gave a good explanation for the why, and what can we do after that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And then you leave it. That's all you can do. Forgiveness takes time.
Yeah.
And when someone's ready to forgive, they'll mend that fence. That gentleman forgave him right there. And bro, the forgiveness was infectious.
Yeah.
So what I see is holy shit, wrestling just brought cultures together.
Yeah.
Wrestling just brought people with different ideologies together in an embrace and excitement.
Yeah.
Phil went on that pre-show at 5 p.m. We did a promo at 8:30.
Yeah.
He went from being the most hated person to forgiving one or saying sorry to one guy and being forgiven, and then the whole pre-show forgiving him.
Yeah.
And then went out in front of 31,000 people and they forgave him.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a better moment than that.
Wow.
I don't know if there's a better moment of what we can accomplish in here.
All right, let's talk about this because I have some strong thoughts here. I don't know if they're strong or controversial, but they're just my thoughts. Whatever they are land at or what they land at. But if you're unfamiliar with what exactly CM Punk did that he needed to ask forgiveness for, and what made John Cena sit there and weep like a child is back in 2020, CM Punk was criticizing Saudi Arabia shows as quote unquote blood money. This happened in 2020 in a tweet to The Miz. And he said that, CM Punk said that it was quote, it was a mean tweet. This is what he eventually said in June when he was in Saudi. That's, again, made John Cena fall to his knees. And he said it was a mean tweet. He was in a crabby mood, and he was able to get the crowd to forgive him. We'll talk about that. But the tweet itself said that to The Miz, said, quote, go suck a blood money covered D in Saudi Arabia, criticizing the wrestlers for participating in lucrative Saudi shows. Okay, so that happened in 2020. That's what he needed to apologize for, was something he said to The Miz 5 years ago on Twitter. And the crowd, yes, didn't forget. I mean, we're living in the age where nothing's erased. There's no history forgotten. But CM Punk was able to, in that pre-show, turn the crowd and apologized and hugged some guy in the crowd, and everybody suddenly loved him and said that he was crabby and blah, 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 right? So everybody forgot him or forgave him. And to John Cena, after all the accolades that he's ever accomplished in the ring, after everything he's ever done ever, all the WrestleManias, all the big matches, all the crazy pops, this was his biggest moment. This was the biggest moment in wrestling to him. I call BS on that. Mr. Rah-Rah Corp. This is exactly, if you were to draw up a corporate response, it would be this. Because it's about the company bringing cultures together and mending fences. That's what they want this to be, because it's not about the wrestling and the in-ring stuff. It's about bringing cultures together. Okay, WWE is not in the business of doing that. They also still have not done that. That has not mended anything. We can have John Cena talk about how this, it brought cultures together. No, it didn't. Yeah, it certainly didn't. CM Punk was just there to save face. He was there to make good and be a good little corporate stooge. And I don't blame him for this, because if you're part of the company making as much money as Saudi's paying you to get there, you're going to do and say whatever the hell they want you to. Or you're not going to be there and you're not going to get paid. I mean, that's just the end of it. So I also can't fault Phil Brooks for this. I really can't. But if the general public is supposed to sit there and go, wow, yeah, what a beautiful moment. That's so much better than anything John Cena has ever done. And John Cena should think of this as his biggest, most proud, most impactful moment. This is drawn up in a corporate boardroom, this type of moment. I mean, he is thinking like a corporate stooge at this point. And I know that he's in his 5-year ambassadorship of just promoting the company, which is all he's doing now for the next 5 years. And that's fine. He does what he wants to do, but I'm calling it like it is. This is a corporately created response, not ahead of time, but in John Cena's own mind, real time, because he's very good on his feet. It's a very corporately safe answer. And it's the exact answer an ambassador would give. Exact. Not a wrestler, an ambassador. And this is just, of course, total nonsense. It did not do what John Cena said it was supposed to do. It simply was WWE and Phil Brooks trying to mend the tweet from 5 years ago to make sure that in the match CM Punk was having later in the night that they cheered him and didn't boo him. That's all. That is all it's for. That's it. That's all. There is really no other purpose. This did not come truly down deep from Phil Brooks's heart, and I'm just trying to bring cultures together. That's not the objective. That's not the mission of me going out here. The mission is to make sure I don't get booed and look like a fool and the company doesn't look stupid. And also, Saudi is paying us to do any and everything we can to promote them and make sure that the image of Saudi and the U.S. more generally, is softened. It's Riyadh season. If you haven't seen it on the mat on the canvas of the ring every single week, it's Riyadh season, guys, and we'll see many videos throughout the Royal Rumble and next year's WrestleMania and the crown jewels in between. It's Riyadh season, so make sure you make Saudi Arabia a destination. No, guys. I have no ill will wishing towards anyone in Saudi at all. Sure, you guys live your lives, do whatever, but don't pretend that I'm supposed to feel that our cultures are now mended and it's a beautiful thing. In what world? Okay, the only thing we have in common is we all both love pro wrestling. The people in attendance and us at home that are watching love pro wrestling. That's kind of where most of our beliefs end. But I bet you in a lot of fundamental levels, like big picture stuff, that we don't agree on pretty much anything else. And if we're supposed to also just forgive and forget and pretend that the Saudi Arabian government hasn't been accused and proven to be guilty of human atrocities and continue to have issues in that regard, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that's not true. That John Cena is fooling himself, or he's purposely trying to make it look like this was more of a big moment than it actually was. I didn't think it was. It was a perfectly predictable outcome. If there's anybody that can turn a crowd in the favor of himself, it's CM Punk, even if the crowd vehemently hates him. And it's easy. It's really not that hard. You just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was in a bad mood." Like, everyone can relate to that. It's just because, it's relatable. Okay. So it just showed that people have forgiveness and they're easily manipulated, and that they didn't see through the fact that he's only out there to make sure that later in the night he didn't get booed. Like, fine, whatever. But it's not as big of a moment as John Cena would like it to be, and that he's backstage weeping like a child. I have my doubts about that as well. That'll never be proven. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. I have my doubts. And if it is true that he was sitting there like a child weeping, that's what brings you to tears. That's what brings you to tears, John? Really? A guy out there who you know why he's out there and what he's trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish in reality, not in the corporate speak, not in fantasy world that you are telling us about, blending cultures. Give me a break. I don't buy a single second of it, but that's a big news item coming out of that interview, among other stuff. Maybe we'll talk about more of that in future episodes, but I wanted to give you my 2 cents. So there it is. There it is. Let me know what you guys think. You can always follow me on X at wrestling_audio. You can also go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Guys, that's a good place to go and get your ad-free experience. And check us out, guys, because also, don't go anywhere. We're about to air the SmackDown review from our good friend Daniel, who is in Australia, and hope all things are well over there. I know life's crazy over there too, obviously, with the shooting that took place last week. So, yeah, crazy times. All right, well, that'll do it for me. Stay tuned for Daniel in just a moment. I'll be back on Tuesday with your Monday Night Raw review. Hope everyone's doing well leading into the Christmas week here, whether you celebrate it or not. It's going to be busy, and hope you all enjoy it. I'll be talking to you soon, and Daniel, take it away.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the SmackDown Review. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. It's your boy Daniel, normal and regular host of the Main Event Review, doing a SmackDown fill-in for Amanda for the past 3 weeks. Last 2 episodes I've done on SmackDown. Be sure to check them out if you haven't already. Also, be sure to check out my Main Event review as well that I do every single Tuesday morning, I would say, for you guys, if I do that accurately. But today will be the last SmackDown review before you get Amanda back on a regular basis. And it's been great reviewing SmackDown for you guys as well. And if you do like my stuff, be sure to check out my own podcast, The Huddle Within, as well, where I post on a weekly basis. I put wrestling content out there as well as other sports as well, such as EPL, NBA, and NFL. But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit of a background check. Again, last SmackDown before I go back to main events on a regular basis. And yeah, I mean, the SmackDown was pretty good overall. Nothing too crazy. I feel like things have slowed down ever since, obviously, John Cena's retired. And there have been lots of spoilers because these are all pre-tapings of what's occurred. It happened in Hershey, Pennsylvania. You had sort of the Raw commentary team there with Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore. You also had Alicia Taylor doing ring announcements and Jackie Redmond too. So a lot of the content that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks, just be careful with spoilers if you want to get it in real time, because I've been caught with a few already and I'm not too happy about that. But at the end of the day, that's what happens when shows are pre-taped for that Christmas break, which the superstars do deserve breaks. It's just that the shows are not going to be in real time. They're all pre-taped. So obviously fans have attended live and they know the outcome of most of the things that have occurred. And yeah, that pretty much is where it's at. And we'll continue to review them, but at the same time, understand that there is probably going to be a shit ton of spoilers for, apologies for my language, but for lack of a better term as well. But we'll kick off with SmackDown. We had Damien Priest entering the ring to open the show. Quite a surprise. He said that it was nice to hear the energy. He mentioned that we said goodbye to John Cena. The fans booed. Priest said he agreed with them. He just said thank you to Cena as well. So everyone's continuing the trend of getting there like 2 or 3 minutes of fame when they get on the promos to thank Cena there. We also had Zelina Vega then interrupting as Damien Priest went and basically said that he has plans for 2026. He said that they were put in the past. And every time a superstar says that, we always expect the feud or the person they're feuding with to just continue to come out. And that's what happened when Zelina came in, basically saying that Damien Priest didn't get the pin, and he calls that salvation. He said that she said that Priest can't stand that Aleister broke him. And that's where Aleister Black's music came out, and then he attacked Damien Priest from behind, hit him with a few elbows. Damien Priest came back with some punches, and followed by a forearm and a jumping knee. And Priest got a hold of Black and gave him a chokeslam in the ring, and then pulled the table under the ring, and that's where Black attacked Priest with a couple of chair shots. Then Priest got a hold of Black. Black shoved him into the ring post, hit a roundhouse kick to the head, and then hit a spinning back elbow. Then Black jumped off the apron and hit the double knees to Damien Priest, which drove him right through the table. It was a really nice spot, actually, to be honest, and was quite solid. So, yeah, I was impressed with that kind of move, to be honest. And basically, I think that pretty much what wrapped up everything. It looked like Priest got the upper hand, but then that obviously continued backstage where we had Damien Priest getting attacked by Aleister Black too from the back, hitting the Black Mask as well into the garage as well. So that was quite brutal. There was a few shovel shots as well. And it looks as though they're going to continue the feud. I don't know if this is to write Damien Priest off for a few weeks, but this feud has been going on for a while now, and we still haven't got the payoff. When we're going to see the payoff, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm hoping it happens sooner rather than later so both guys can move on to better things, I think. This has been going on since back in like October, so it's almost like 4 or 5 months, and they haven't even had a PLE match to sort of like close this out. Like, you thought 2 months ago the feud was done in Australia when Aleister Black beat Damien Priest in a last man standing, but turns out no. So this is continuing on. I don't know. I don't think it'll go all the way to WrestleMania, but I think there needs to be a Saturday night's main event stipulation match or something just to get this feud over and done with. We then had Lash Legend and Nia Jax getting interviewed by Baron Saxton. Jax didn't like the fact that Lash beating Alexa Bliss was an upset. Lash said that Lil Lexi didn't stand a chance against Lash, and Lash said that they're moving on. They can't wait to annihilate the Kabuki Warriors and become tag team champions. But Saxton did mention that Io Sky and Rhea Ripley have a tag team title opportunity. Nia Jax said it didn't matter who they were, who the champion was going to be, and Lash said that they were coming for those titles. And that's when both of the Kabuki Warriors and Nia Jax and Lash Legend get into the ring, And we actually had Nia Jax and Lash Legend defeating the Kabuki Warriors in 9 minutes. And how the match finished was basically the match went on, and Asuka battled Nia Jax by the turnbuckle, hit the sunset flip powerbomb. Then Lash sent Asuka into the steel steps. Sane tagged in, and before that, Sane jumped onto Lash on the floor. Then went to the top, jumped off, and then Jax was back up, and then Jax hit the chokeslam on her. Then the Annihilator for the pinfall there. So just actually pushing Nia Jax here to get the pin, which to me was quite a surprise, because I actually thought that they would have given Lash Legend the opportunity to pin and close the match out, given that she is the new star and they really want to put her over. And she had big momentum after defeating Alexa Bliss last week. But no, it turns out that they're still giving Nia Jax an opportunity to get pins here, which I'm not against. It makes the two tag teams look very powerful. But at the same time, I question the booking, because we have a title match and we've had the current tag team champions lose cleanly, and it wasn't for the title match. I don't really get it. To me, it looks as though that whatever happens, it's going to be a disqualification. I think Nia Jax and Lash Legend will come and interrupt the match on Raw when they do battle, because I just don't see why you would make them fight a non-title match and give the pin to them when they're going up against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Like, who's going to drop the match? It's definitely not going to be Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, because they're a powerhouse. But the Kabuki Warriors can't lose 2 in a row either without Nia Jax and Lash Legends getting the credit for it. So, yeah, I'm questioning as to what's going to happen there. I'm feeling a disqualification, but interesting booking. But we continue on, because Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss run out into the ring. Flair sent Jax into the turnbuckle, hit a super kick on Lash. Alexa Bliss hit a few kicks and dropped Lash Legend as well. Then Alexa kicked Nia out of the ring. Flair then hit a super kick on Lash Legend. Alexa Bliss went to the top, and Nia Jax pulled Lash Legends out the ring before they were able to do anything more. I think she was going obviously for a Twisted Bliss. And then we had now Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss holding the women's tag team titles. So to me, I think the payoff here is going to be a massive multi-tag team championship match. And look, I don't mind it. Like, the women's tag team division, ever since Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss won it this year, the title race has been so much better and so interesting, to a point where I think it's more interesting than the normal tag team title matches. Like, I know we have the Wyatt Sicks and MFTs feud, but that goes beyond like tag team division. But I think I'm really liking this so far, and I'm really liking what everyone is doing to help elevate the women's tag team title as well. So that's pretty awesome, to be honest. But yeah, we'll continue on. We have Kiana James and Julia getting interviewed by Jackie Redmond. James said it was rude to Redmond, basically, who apologized that normally didn't do this show. So basically, I think the fact that Jackie Redmond wasn't half asleep, mate. Jackie Redmond wasn't used to the show, and obviously wasn't able to respect Julia and Kiana James, which was no point anyway. But basically, Julia claimed that Chelsea Green wants to hide the women's US title, and Julia will take out Alba Fire. And then basically, Julia then said that Chelsea Green's time was running out. And look, we'll go to the match, but all I'm going to say is that Julia is not really doing a good job. And I feel like WWE has failed her booking. I think it was too fast for her to get the title from Chelsea Green at the start, or from Zelina Vega, sorry. And ever since she's come onto the scene, she hasn't connected with the crowd whatsoever. No one cheers for her. No one's excited to see her. And that's not because of... of course, it's probably because of her, because she's not doing the best job in promo or in work to build that character. But she's a very, very good in-ring performer. And I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Julia. I like Kiana James is there to try boost her promo work, but that's not working either, because I don't think anyone really connects with Kiana James. And I feel like there's just no organic connection between the two either. They don't have that chemistry to a point where you back that up. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But we'll continue on to when we see Julia take on Alba Fire, and continuing on with sort of the crowd reactions there, because, yeah, they weren't too pleasant whatsoever, I have to say. We then had Drew McIntyre meeting with Nick Aldis. This was obviously cut at Drew McIntyre's home. Nick Aldis brought some security with him. This was just such a perfectly cinematic tape. I didn't mind it, but at the same time, obviously, it was just so scripted. To me, just I don't know. But Aldis said that Cody Rhodes wants Drew McIntyre reinstated. Nick Aldis also said that Drew is a top talent in WWE and an integral part of SmackDown. Nick Aldis proposed that Drew gets a WWE title shot, but he wants Drew to publicly apologize to the referee. Nick Aldis said that Drew will heavily be fined, but his payday from Survivor Series will cover that. Then Drew replied that he wants the WWE title more than anything, but those claims basically said no. He said that he wants the title more than anything, but it's an unsafe working environment and Drew will get screwed again. So he's continuing on the train that he keeps getting screwed over, which I do somewhat agree with Drew McIntyre. Why would he want to accept this if he's going to keep getting screwed over? But Nick Aldis said that he wants what's fair. Drew said that if he comes back, he gets the WWE title shot, but he wants to pick the stipulation. Nick said he could live with that. He also mentioned that he wants Nick Aldis to get his lawyers and draw up a document to say that Cody cannot lay a finger on Drew McIntyre before the championship match, or Cody is stripped from the WWE title. Nick Aldis didn't like this, but to get the match in the ring, he got a deal, shook hands with Drew, started laughing, and that's when Drew got a notification from his security footage that Cody Rhodes is at Drew's house. Drew claimed that Aldis set him up, but Aldis said he didn't do it. Then Nick Aldis went to try and handle it, confronting Cody, wondering what he was doing. And that's where Cody went after Drew, and we saw the camera just pan in and out, which was quite funny. It didn't really show the main attack, but again, that's the camera did doing that right action at the right time. And that's where they got into a fight. The cops restrained Cody, obviously independent wrestlers. And then that's what Cody Rhodes said, "Merry Christmas, asshole." It was, as mentioned, it was over dramatic, I think, as well. Just really felt like at a movie scene. There wasn't really much authenticity to it. I guess we continue to get teased about Cody Rhodes' sort of heel turn potentially happening up. But we'll get onto that once we sort of cover this up as well. We then get Nick Aldis getting interviewed by Baron Saxton about this, basically talking about how chaotic the situation was, saying that Cody was out of line and said that it's up to the legal authorities to determine what happened to Cody, and he will meet with Cody. That's when The Miz interrupted to complain about Joe Hendry, who ruined, obviously, his moment at Saturday night's main event. He called out for a match with him, and basically Aldis said he'll talk to Ava to see if Hendry can come. All The Miz has to do is say his name. R-Truth then came in and basically said that I believe in Joe Pesci, which was quite funny. And then Miz just left and didn't just acknowledge that at all. And that's where Truth mentioned Nick Aldis' balls again. Was just so funny. R-Truth is just a national treasure. I love him and I love what he's doing. So, yeah, I can't really... Nothing more to say about R-Truth. It's going to be a shame because I don't think he's going to be renewed next year. But we can enjoy the fruits of what he's doing, to be honest. And I'm glad he's sort of doing this as well. We had the match between Alba Fyre and Julia, and again, just nothing out of this match. The crowd was proper dead. We had two heels fighting. I don't know what's going on with this feud, but all I got to say is that these girls are really good in the ring, but they're just not getting any sort of fan movement at all, especially Julia. But Julia did get the win using her Michiyonku driver, which I'm a big fan of. I really love that finishing move. But the match only went for 4 minutes, basically demonstrating that Julia was there to just show how powerful and strong she is, and that she's coming after Chelsea Green. But I don't think she's going to win the title. Chelsea Green's going to find a way to win. And this basically sets up that feud between the two and the chance for Julia to go for the title. But again, if the fans are not connecting with her, then there's really no point of her getting the title. And I think that's going to stay like that because until WWE find a way to book Julia better, or Julia starts to work her promos and get a connection with the fans, then this is going to be the same story because, she's not getting any crowd reaction whatsoever. And it's a shame because she's really good in the ring too. Now we get Cody Rhodes entering the ring. He made his entrance there, basically admitting that things got physical with Drew McIntyre. He said that Drew claims that the WWE is an unsafe working environment. He said that Drew is surrounded by pro athletes, so what would be a safe environment? Staples. Cody said that the yard brawl is 1/10 of what should happen for them in the ring. I actually didn't get that Staples joke. Call me oblivious, but I don't know. I didn't get it. So sorry if I missed something. If someone wants to explain to me what the joke was, because people were laughing in the ring, I actually didn't understand what the joke was. So it probably just went over my head. And then basically Nick Aldis walked out saying that he had to make a bad deal because Cody made him look like a liar. Nick Aldis then talked to Cody as a friend, said that Cody is not above the law, and Nick Aldis can't help him with that. A lot of Aldis today. Not against it, but it's just funny how much I've been talking about Nick Aldis on this episode. He mentioned that he wanted Cody to trust him. He also mentioned that if Drew pays the fine and makes a public apology to the ref, Cody can't lay a finger on Drew. And then Cody asked, "Oh, what?" just to create some drama. Everyone knew what it was for. It was because if he did, he would be stripped of the WWE Championship. Then Cody said he can guarantee that he won't touch Drew, but he says and feels that Nick has forgotten who he's talking to. Cody told him to ask their mutual friend Wade Barrett or Marty on camera. Just said that he's the one that said the tweet. Starts going on about how he won the Royal Rumble twice, how he's the reigning king of the ring, he's QB1, just flexing, sort of heel. Like the fans were cheering for him, but to me, very heel-like in the way he cut this promo, especially flexing all those things. Like, we know you've done that, Cody, but we don't need to hear it every single second. And the fact that the fans are cheering for it is just a bit annoying too, because like we get what Cody's done, but ever since he defeated Roman Reigns, he hasn't really done much. And John Cena obviously carried that feud too. So yeah, that happened almost 2 years ago, Cody. And since then, since you've had the title, if I'm honest, you haven't done much. And it's not a criticism to say anything about Cody, it's just the reality, I think. Besides, obviously, feuds with John Cena, feuds with The Rock, which is what we need to see. We need to see Cody and The Rock feuding. But The Rock has obviously ruined that as well, so you can't fully blame Cody. We're not going to think that his run is significant. And again, as much as I'm keen for, before I go on to the rest of the promo, as much as I'm keen for Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, I just know that in the end, Cody Rhodes is going to win this and Drew's going to get screwed again. And we're just going to have a WrestleMania main event of Cody Rhodes involved as well. So, like, again, this match just fills up time. This feud just fills up time when it's definitely more than that. And Drew McIntyre has made it more than that. But he's not going to get what he wants. But basically, he continues on to say, and this is where, again, I feel like the heel inklings are rumbling as well. And it's starting to get more sort of surface that he could potentially turn heel. I'm hoping for this because I feel like it's just going to change his character big time. It's going to do something that I think needs to be done for him. But basically, he mentions that while he's holding the title, he doesn't work for Nick Aldis. He works for the fans. And he also said that Aldis works for Cody. And yeah, again, a heel move. Obviously, bringing the fans to make it sound like he's not turning heel, but to go up against what Nick Aldis, who is the general manager, is saying, and basically mention that he works for him, and also mentioning all the stuff that he's done to get the title, claiming himself to be QB1, which is self-claimed, by the way, just gives me heel vibes and signs. And like, just continue to look out for that, because it feels as though Cody Rhodes is slowly but surely going to be going into that direction, and I'm hoping that it does happen, because I think it would be unbelievable to see a Cody Rhodes heel turn. I think it would get a lot of people on their seats, I have to say. We then have a backstage segment with Ilya Dragunov speaking to Carmella Hayes in the background. We had Thomas Honga looking on in the background, and look, there's something that's spoiled there, so I don't want to go into that. I got spoiled about something, but I don't know how that's going to work moving forward. I'll get to that in another time. But Ilya thanked Carmella. Carmella appreciated it. He said that he knows Mella doesn't like attacking people from behind. Well, not anymore. So that's basically saying to us that Carmella Hayes is going to be the babyface. Ilya said, well, he's now a babyface. He pretty much is, to be honest. It happened so random. The Miz sort of put him over, and because the Miz was attacking him, that happened. But I still don't get it. Anywho, yeah, it was a quick babyface turn. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not down on it. Like, people love Carmella Hayes, but it sort of happened out of nowhere. Like, I wouldn't have minded to see Carmella Hayes still be a bit of a heel. But again, we had Fraxium, Nathan Fraser has loose focus, and Axiom say that they want to get their hands on DIY. Mella said they don't miss, and Fraser said if they miss, then Fraxium will be there. And Ilya said that champion's not just a jackass, he's Ilya's prey. Again, Ilya just continues to do these like very patriotic promos, like just a fighting warrior. I do like it, but it just becomes repetitive every single time, and I can see why like fans don't really connect with him. And I think he needs to do a better job at doing promos that are different to just being honorable. But that's just me being picky. I'm so sorry. But I still think Ilya Dragunov is a very good performer in the ring. We did have then the match between them against DIY, where we did have Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes getting the victory. And how the victory started, or happened, was we had Mallow going to the ropes, Candice LeRae tripping him up while the referee was getting distracted. We had Ciampa hitting a knee smash, then Gargano hitting a super kick into a fairy tale ending, and they were both near falls for Carmelo Hayes. So like things like this is what's been pushing Carmelo Hayes, and how the fans have been just moving towards him based on these sort of moves as well. Because truly, he should have lost the match at this point, but those near falls made him look like he was a fighting warrior, which was what Ilya would have loved, because then he came at the back, hit a flying headbutt on Gargano, and then Mallow hit the first 48 on Ciampa, then followed by a H-bomb by Ilya, and then they gave Mallow the pin here and the finish with the nothing but net to get the victory in a match that went for about 8 minutes. So Dragunov and Mallow as a team was pretty cool. Obviously, again, pushing Mallow here. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I think will happen next because it got spoiled for me, but all I'm going to say is that we might see potentially Mallow continue to get pushed as further this storyline goes. And as he continues, well, he still hasn't had his US title match. So I'm assuming that that's going to be the case as well. We then had Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair getting interviewed by Jackie Redman. Bliss said that if you look too far into the future, you forget to tend what's standing in front of you. And then Flair said that Jackson Ledger were in the way. Bliss mentioned whoever wins the tag team titles, they'll be waiting. That's when Jade Cargill showed up. Again, before we go to Jade Cargill, obviously they're heavily involved in the women's tag team championship stakes, as I've previously mentioned. We then had Jade Cargill getting interviewed by Jackie again. Jade said she was shocked to see Michin get up after Jade knocked her down. And Jade said she'll give her some spotlight and knock her out. That's when Michin came and attacked Jade with the kendo stick. And a lot of people were trying to push her away. And I love this. I love that Michin is fighting back and standing up to Jade Cargill where no one else is. Obviously, we're waiting for Jade Cargill's main competitor. And I'm sure Michin is probably going to get squashed. But I like the fact that someone is standing up to Jade Cargill and no one's just letting her walk by. And Michin is taking that up nicely. And she's making a signature gimmick with this kendo stick, which is something that's, I think, got to give credit to Michin for as well, if I'm honest. But yeah, awesome to see, I have to say. And then we had the main event where, before the main event happened, Solo did a promo backstage with the MFTs walking, basically saying when it comes to family, he doesn't play games. He said that he will embarrass Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks in front of the whole world. Solo claimed that the Fireflies were there and they will watch the MFTs take the tag team titles. Solo then used another Bray Wyatt promo, basically saying that he's got the whole world in his hands. So continuing to mock Bray Wyatt, which I really like how Solo has been using these promos. He used, obviously, Bo Leave, he used Run before, and now he's got the whole world in his hands. Like, awesome stuff from Solo. I continue to get amazed for what he's doing as well. We then had the match between the Wyatt Sicks, the team of Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, taking on the worst two members of the MFTs, JC Mateo and Tonga Loa. Hilarious that they choose those two to battle in there, given that you have probably three of the better ones just watching. But basically how the match sort of ended was we had Loa hitting Gacy, or Loa throwing Gacy out the ring, and then Tala Tonga hitting a boot to knock Joey Gacy down. And that's when Rowan tackled Tala to the floor. And then the MFT started tackling Eric Rowan over the commentary table. And then Howdy got into a fight with Solo. And then Lumis and the other wrestlers in the match started fighting too. So once the brawl just started, the bell rang and it was a disqualification. Again, it was a no contest. They just kept attacking each other. And I don't know what happened. Because at the end of the show, the time just panned out. So I don't really get it. I don't really get what happened. I was trying to look at Twitter just to see like if there was any like videos of backstage of what ended, like who fell on top, like who ended in the ring, like who was the last group standing. There wasn't any, but what we did see from the end was that we had Rowan picking up Cross with the powerbomb, throwing Talatanga on the floor, and then Solo hit the Samoan spike on Eric Rowan, and that's where Howdy was about to hit the Abigail on Solo, but Tamatanga made the stave, and then, as I mentioned, the teams just went back into a brawl as well. And this feud's going really good. As I mentioned before, I'm really liking this feud between the two groups. I think it's a great entry to have the massive factions battle each other on SmackDown, as mentioned before. I don't know what the payoff is going to be with the tag team titles, but I'd love to see, and I feel like they sometimes steer away from this, we need to see the top leaders of the faction go ahead with each other. And by the top leaders, I'm saying we need to see Solo and we need to see Uncle Howdy go one-on-one with each other. I think that will make the most sense, and I think that's what the final payoff should be. Maybe they lead that up all the way to WrestleMania, who knows? Maybe we get a few tag team title matches in between, but at the end of the day, we need to see Solo and Uncle Howdy battle. And if that doesn't happen, then I feel like this feud is a waste overall, because we have the two leaders of each faction group taking on SmackDown, battling against each other, and no match between the two will just be a disrespect to that, in my opinion. But yeah, that pretty much wraps the SmackDown review. Thank you very much for tuning in again and going through a little bit of my mistakes as well. But yeah, this is the final SmackDown review before you do get Amanda back, which will be good. I'll be continuing to do main event reviews again weekly, so be sure to check that out. Also, don't forget to check out the Huddle Within podcast as well. I'll get Matt to leave a description below so you can check that out and get the link too. But again, it's been your boy Daniel. You've listened to another episode of the SmackDown review, and I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.